Have you ever heard of Waldenstrom Macroglobulinemia? Not many have. It's a rare type of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, a cancer that begins in the cells of the immune system. Its standout feature? The overproduction of large amounts of an abnormal protein, macroglobulin, that can cause a myriad of problems. It's a disease that keeps scientists and doctors on their toes, pushing the boundaries of our understanding. Now, you might be wondering, how does this disease develop in the body? Understanding the pathophysiology of Waldenstrom Macroglobulinemia helps us to comprehend how the disease progresses. So, let's delve deeper. Waldenstrom Macroglobulinemia, or WM, originates in the B lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell. In a healthy body, these cells produce antibodies or immunoglobulins to fight infections. But in WM, a mutation causes these cells to overproduce a specific type of antibody known as macroglobulin. This overabundance of macroglobulin in the blood, known as hyperglobulinemia, can lead to various complications. For instance, it can thicken the blood, a condition known as hyperviscosity syndrome, which can slow down blood flow and cause problems such as blurred vision, headaches, and even stroke. Furthermore, the abnormal B cells can infiltrate various organs, including the bone marrow, liver, and spleen, causing an array of symptoms and complications. So what causes this abnormal proliferation of B lymphocytes? The exact cause of Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia remains unknown. However, researchers believe it may be due to a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Certain gene mutations have been associated with an increased risk of developing this disease. Environmental factors like exposure to certain chemicals could also play a role. Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia is more frequently diagnosed in older adults and people of European descent, suggesting a possible genetic predisposition. Now that we understand how Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia develops, let's discuss how it presents clinically. The clinical presentation of Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia can vary widely. This is largely due to the overproduction of IgM macroglobulin, a type of protein in the blood. This excess protein can cause a diverse range of symptoms. One of the most common symptoms is fatigue. This is caused by the high levels of macroglobulin in the blood, which can make it thicker and more difficult for the heart to pump, leading to reduced oxygen flow to the body's tissues. Another symptom often seen is bleeding, which can manifest as nosebleeds or bruising. This happens because the macroglobulin can interfere with the function of platelets, the blood cells responsible for clotting. Weight loss and neurological symptoms such as numbness or weakness in the limbs can also occur. These are often a result of the macroglobulin affecting other parts of the body, like the nervous system. But how do we confirm a diagnosis of Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia? Laboratory findings play a critical role in diagnosing Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. This complex disease is often discovered through a combination of blood tests, bone marrow biopsies, and genetic testing. Let's start with blood tests. In Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia, one would typically find high levels of IgM antibodies in the blood. These antibodies are proteins that our immune system uses to fight off bacteria and viruses. However, in this condition, they're produced in excess, leading to a condition known as hypergammaglobulinemia. This can cause the blood to become thick, a phenomenon referred to as hyperviscosity syndrome. Next, we have anemia, another common finding. Anemia, or a decrease in the number of red blood cells, can lead to fatigue, weakness, and shortness of breath. This is because red blood cells carry oxygen around the body, and when their numbers are low, the body's tissues don't get enough oxygen. Moving on to bone marrow biopsies. In Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia, the bone marrow, which is usually responsible for producing healthy blood cells, becomes packed with abnormal B lymphocytes. These cells are the culprits behind the excessive production of IgM antibodies. A bone marrow biopsy can reveal these abnormal cells and confirm the diagnosis. Finally, genetic testing can provide further insights. A mutation in the MYD88 gene is found in the majority of people with Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. This mutation leads to the continuous activation of a signaling pathway that promotes the survival and proliferation of the abnormal B cells. To sum up, Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia is diagnosed through a combination of blood tests showing high levels of IgM and anemia, a bone marrow biopsy revealing abnormal B cells, and genetic testing identifying the MYD88 mutation. Although Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia is a rare and complex disease, Understanding its hallmark feature, pathophysiology, etiology, and clinical presentation aids in its diagnosis and management. Remember, knowledge is the first step towards better health.